versus them. While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
All right, welcome everyone to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate y'all being here. We're live here on WYSL until 1 p.m., so make sure you give us a call, 585-346-3000 if you want to participate in the show. Actually, no, we have a caller, Tim O'Connor.
Are
you on the line?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, here. I started giving out the number like I'm doing the show solo, and Tim, you're phoning it in today.
Yeah, well, I got to phone it in sometimes. I am in my 2012 Ford Taurus broadcasting booth down in Boyceville, so I thought, there's so much to talk about, Kevin. I just got to get on the show, and I know you have the Liberty Show guys on Friday. Am I remembering that correctly?
That's correct. Yeah. So we're going to have Damon Kennedy from the Liberty Show on Friday, and we're talking about some. We recorded a show Saturday evening on welfare reform, and what is welfare? How do we tackle it? Or are the incentives set up right? Is it moral? Do we have any obligation to take care of other people in our country? So we talk about all that stuff on the show, and we're going to hit some of those points on Friday and talk about a few other things as well.
That's great stuff. I mean, libertarians are like, look, the welfare cliff is deliberate and it's designed to buy votes. I'd love to hear the Liberty Show guys' take on that. I think that we've got to find a way to be prepared to help people that are less fortunate than us. So sometimes libertarianism in its purest form occasionally misses the mark on communications with that. Yeah,
right. So, some things we'll talk about too is like, without spoiling too much, some private charity, how much can that replace it? We'll talk about, I talk about the welfare cliff a bit. And again, I think that's deliberate too. It keeps people trapped in poverty, keeps people trapped in a position where they have to become dependent on government. And so
like just like certain forms of housing in urban areas, I think that you're you can literally trap people where they are through minimized provision of incentives and taking businesses out of their neighborhoods and stuff like that. I think there's a real area where we can revolutionize society, a real area where we can make things better if we come to some sort of sensible agreement and stop arguing over it.
That'd be a nice thing. We'll see if we can ever do that.
Yeah, it would be a nice thing.
But anyway, that wasn't what we're going to talk about completely today. So just a rundown of some of the topics. I know Larry covered some of this stuff yesterday, but talk about what's going on with Governor Cuomo and the new Attorney General reports, what's going on there, how people are responding to it, what we should think of that. Not that I'm telling you what to think. We're just going to add some information and context to that stuff. I can't tell you what to think, guys. I see your phone calls, emails, texts, and comments. And there ain't no telling you what to think. You tell me.
There is not. Our friends, the people that listen to us, they understand the piece of freedom that seems to be missing from everyday discussion in the duopolistic world. And whether you're a Fox News fan or a CNN fan, at some point, you've got to realize they're playing with your head and they're keeping us divided. And here we are, our friends, talking about the reality of freedom, liberty, happiness, and what can we do to make these things actually work and stop fighting over this stuff?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I want to talk about that, the Cuomo stuff. We'll talk about I want to talk about some of the vaccine requirements that are going on in Rochester too, private businesses putting those in place, the ones going on in New York City, maybe some of the differences, whether or not one's okay and one isn't, and then maybe some of the CDC stuff too, the new eviction moratorium coming out of there. But let's talk about the Governor Cuomo stuff first, because since the show yesterday when Larry was talking about a few more things have happened, President Joe Biden came out and said Governor Cuomo should resign. So people in his own party, my local assemblyman, also said the same thing. A bunch of other folks some of which were ahead of the curve. They called for this a while ago, and they're repeating that now. We'll see if anyone else jumps on board now, and we'll see who else is going to be defending them now too.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing. Who comes out and defends this guy who I find his behavior to be indefensible, and not just about guys, not even just about the latest allegations. I've found this guy to be indefensible for a long time. I don't agree with the way that he governs. I don't want to like call him names, but I've got to be honest. I'm very disappointed in the way that he crafts his arguments. I'm very disappointed in the constant pandering. Again, like I just mentioned, the CNN and the Foxes of the world, where people get divided by certain style of commentary and certain belief systems. And Cuomo panders that he plays that angle to a T, to a fit. I mean, he just works that angle so hard. It really frustrates me. I think we deserve better leadership in New York State. And actually, I think we deserve less leadership overall. I don't like centralized power, and Cuomo has done nothing, if not centralized power in New York State.
And I'll disagree with you slightly. Not less leadership, just more local individual leadership. That's all it is. Like, you can be a leader in your family or community voluntarily, in nonprofit groups, whoever you want to be. That's leadership too. Leadership doesn't always mean like, oh, I'm going to tell you what to do, and if you don't do it, I'm going to hurt you, which is how Governor Cuomo seems to operate both on the state level and apparently from a harassment perspective too. Given this
I love
report.
the way that you added clarity to what I was saying, Kevin, because we're definitely on the same wavelength there.
Yeah, no, I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. So we're getting in sync. It's good. So the AG report, I don't know. I folks who are listening out in Radio Land, either on WYSL or on WACK out in Newark, I did share this in the comments of any of the streams. So if you're listening to A Free Solution on Facebook, on YouTube, or the Kevin Wilson Libertarian pages, I shared those there as well. You can take a look at what the full it's like 160 page report from the Attorney General's office, again, an elected Democrat, and they have a synopsis at the beginning, and it's some ugly stuff. Like, some of the stuff we knew about had kind of come out before, but Governor Cuomo apparently like reaching into women's blouses, and harassing state troopers too. There's another one. He had requested a state trooper, a woman, to be on his detail, and pulled special favors to get her on, and then was like just creepy, touching her stomach and touching her back and stuff. It's just, man, like, I read this stuff, I'm like, what an absolute creep.
Listen, I've gotten that creepy vibe from him since, I want to say 30 years ago. He was in Oneonta announcing Empire Zone plans when his dad was governor, and he gave this big rah-rah speech, and it just didn't quite meet up with reality. It was a session of cheerleading, and I've always gotten a bad vibe from that guy. And guys, I'm not just saying that, like, and I'm not saying my vibes always pan out to be true either, but this Cuomo has done all of the things that he said. And let me tell you what, if these things are coming to light, imagine the things that have happened that are still being not talked about. Okay. Like, let's be real about that. There's no way this is an exhaustive list of his transgressions. Some people don't want to be bothered by it. Like, they don't want to be bothered. They were uncomfortable, but they don't need to have their name dragged through the limelight. That's a reality. When someone behaves like this often already, there's probably many, many, many more instances of it.
Yeah, no, it could be. But I mean, there's plenty to go through here. And again, we do know that like people like Lindsay Boylan, who was part of Empire State Development, I think she was one of the people who like kind of got her name dragged through the mud following like her accusations that had come out a while ago. And when she tried to do something about it, they said, oh, well, like, she was fired. And I think she was the one who's doing that. And if I got that wrong, I apologize. But it's not just harassment. It's also intimidation, right? It's like, hey, if you say anything about this, you're going to be dead in the party, and we're going to make sure you never work in this business again type of stuff. You can make sure you read that at least the first few pages of the report, because it gives a good summary of that and then backs it up with evidence. Go ahead. Was
Lindsay the one that was thinking about running for New York City mayor? Is
that might have been?
And they basically dragged her through the mud, saying that her political aspirations were the reasons why she was making these allegations. And then it was immediately followed by another one. And somewhere around 7, what's the lady's name that said, not Carl Heastie, Andrea Cousins, right? The leader of the assembly. said one more accuser, one more, and we're going to ask him to resign. And it's like, okay, someone showed up. So they asked him to resign, and they didn't they haven't taken enough action from my perspective. This guy was obviously has these problems.
Right. And so we're, like the people in New York State, and I think that, again, good for some Democrats on like being consistent about this. It's hard to be consistent in politics when your own party is on the line. Some elected Democrats have said, like, all right, yeah, we're actually going to do something about this, and they've gotten some feedback from their voters too, some of whom don't like it. They don't want, they see how other politicians get their parties to rally all around them. And it seems like they're untouchable, but a lot of Democrats like, nope, we said that it isn't okay to touch people when you don't have their consent. It's not okay to harass people. It's not okay to intimidate people. So we're actually going to say something about it. Now, you got to go a step further, though. You got to not just, oh, this is bad. If Governor Cuomo is not going to resign, do something about it. Start impeachment proceedings, and the assembly had kind of started that. They've slow rolled it a little bit. The investigation is going a bit slow, and they're supposed to be investigating a bunch of other stuff too, because remember, it's not just the sexual harassment stuff. It is also what happened in the nursing homes, what happens with several other things too. All right, so sounds like we're running out of time for this segment, though. We'll talk a little bit more about what's going on with Governor Cuomo, what to expect next, and what we can ask our elected officials to do with this stuff too, and some polling that came out about it that's interesting and depressing. But thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson today, joined by Tim O'Connor, who's on the phone this afternoon. We'll be back with more from A Free Solution in a few minutes.
Can't I get you to sing just a few bars of Empire State of Mind?
Oh, that's a campaign killer.
All right, fine. We're going to go to the end of the debate.
Unless you come to the shower.
All right, we're done.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
The Finger Lakes Castle team is in its 7th decade of factory direct service to the service professional. From cleaning the ins and outs of your vehicle to keeping you on the road, Castle's got you covered. Castle makes streak-proof glass cleaner, FDA-registered sanitizers, and EPA-registered hospital-grade disinfectants. Remember, when you need to keep it clean, use what the pros use. Castle. Accept no substitutes.
Castle keeps it clean.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
A free solution.
COVID did not get into the nursing homes by people coming from hospitals. COVID got into the nursing homes by staff walking into the nursing home.
Governor Cuomo, being his charming self, as usual, you heard that clip going out.
Influencing people as only he can.
Yes, certainly has a talent to him, doesn't he? So we're talking about the Cuomo scandal stuff, the allegations coming from the Attorney General's office, the more thorough investigation. Then, because like there's folks who like when this stuff started coming out several months ago, just on a sexual harassment stuff, right? They're like, oh well, we need to give Cuomo his due process. We need to do some investigation. Okay, well now there's an investigation. It's more than just an allegation. It's corroborated by witnesses, detailed testimony under oath. They interviewed Governor Cuomo about this apparently for like 11 hours or something. So this is what the investigation actually looks like. And then the due process is, if he doesn't resign, if he doesn't look at all this evidence and say, well, my political career's over, I can no longer effectively govern the state of New York because of this, or, you should just resign in disgrace because like any person with morals would. Well, the next step is the assembly needs to impeach him. They need to hold their own hearings and say, okay, because of this and possibly other reasons, they need to actually impeach the guy. And there is a new poll that came out too. So new information that we didn't have yesterday, a new Marist poll. So overall, 59% of voters say that Cuomo should resign, but 52% of registered Democrats are also calling for the governor to resign. 48% think he should be impeached if he doesn't resign. And that's including those numbers are pretty similar, like no matter where you look. Now, again, Republicans, they're much more in favor of him resigning, especially the upstate New York Republicans. Most registered Democrats, only 18% want him to run for re-election at this point. So not looking great for Governor Cuomo.
As we digest this stuff, I've got a big question for everyone. What is he going, if they go through impeachment, what are they going to convict him of that warrants his removal from office? That's the question. And so his defense to date has been, okay, I flirted with women, they were uncomfortable, I didn't break any laws. This investigation by Letitia James wasn't a criminal investigation. It was not designed to result in criminal charges against him. So where does the legislature actually go? Do you know, Kevin? Because I'm kind of curious about that. I always get do these deep dives in my brain. So what's this guy going to get convicted of?
Right. So there's a couple of things that could happen, right? So like one is, you're correct in saying, and I know some people point us out there, no charges brought, like, well, the Attorney General like didn't bring charges, but there's enough evidence there that if a local district attorney wanted to bring charges in their particular county or district or whatever, they could bring actual charges against Governor Cuomo. They could impanel a grand jury. Unlike the president, where it seems kind of iffy whether or not they can actually be charged with a crime, I don't think there's any barrier to that in New York State with charging the governor with an actual crime. So that's one thing that could happen is he actually gets charged with a crime. And the accusation in this report is that essentially he broke both federal and state law in his actions. And there's no specific referral to anywhere, but someone could take this evidence and build their own investigation and move ahead with it. So that's one way. The other way that this could play out is impeachment. Now, impeachment, just like we talked about with the Trump stuff way back when, feels like ancient history now, but you don't actually need to prove a crime. Impeachment is a political process. So basically the legislature just has to say, we don't want this guy in office anymore. for X, Y, and Z reasons, but they don't have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he did anything in particular. They just have to say, we think because of sexual harassment, because of the nursing home cover-up, because of the 10,000 other scandals that Governor Cuomo has, that he is unfit for office, whatever that means. And so they don't have to prove anything specifically. There is no like real due process for that exactly, other than the legislature doesn't want him. It'd be, and because it's controlled by Democrats, it'd have to be his own party going after. So it's not it's total nonsense if he comes out and blames Republicans for this, because it's going to be Democrats who are like, nope, we said that these are our principles and we're going to stick to them. And you know what? Good for Democrats if they actually do that, or even if it's to save their own skin, which I think it might be.
Yeah,
they don't want the blowback.
I'm so skeptical. I feel like the timing of all these things works out perfectly for him to run, basically get exonerated on some level, and people who already want to associate with his power. I feel like it all works out perfectly for him because he's already built a defense in the media that this is a political prosecution, even from Letitia James and even from Andrea Cousins and even from Carl Heastie. This is all a political ploy to minimize my power in office. And he's already made that case. Now,
he can make that case all he wants. It's just our voters going to believe it. And actually, like I said, the 52% number, 52% think he should resign. Like, it does kind of bum me out a little bit that 48% like either aren't sure or, are supportive.
Well, I have you ever responded to a Marist College poll? A lot of times they're crafted like push polls, and they get the answer that they want crafted right into the question. So I'm not saying that Marist College necessarily wants to prop up a Democrat in office, but I'm saying sometimes polls are designed to get the answer that people want. And if they want some interesting debate-worthy numbers and they want to make news, it's far more interesting that only 52% of people in New York State want him to resign. Or did you say it was 52% of Democrats or 52% of people?
52% of Democrats, like overall 59% of New Yorkers included in this poll, which among Republicans, 59%? It's 77% of them who want him to resign.
Right,
and again,
right.
I'm surprised 23% don't want him to resign, but whatever. Republicans.
Yeah, how do you get these numbers to not 100% and 100%? At the very least, I think the numbers in favoring some sort of trial where all of the facts get aired, even though I'm comfortable with the fact as they've been presented about his poor conduct here, some sort of trial should in fact happen, right? And if he resigns, that's probably his best way out of having all of his problems aired.
Yeah, if he doesn't want this dragged out in public anymore, then that would make the most sense. If he ever wants to have a political career again, like maybe he could. I mean, I hate to see this happen but it could happen. It's like he resigns, all this kind of goes away a little bit, and then in 5 years, suddenly Governor Cuomo is popping up as a person running for Congress or something. We'll see.
That terrifies me. Now I'm not going to be able to eat lunch, Kevin, just because when I hear stuff like that, I have wanted this guy to go away for a long time. I think that I think it's a testament to the problems in our system that this guy actually has been governor for so long in our state. Like he doesn't like upstate New York. He's been very clear about that. He's furthered a division in what we consider to be good governance, where basically it's a system in New York has a bribe reward system. And I think that frustrates everybody, but I guess I'm wrong because only 52% of Democrats want him to resign. I feel like that number should be 99%.
Yeah. All but a small percentage of them too. I think he did something either illegal or unethical. So overall, 44% of New Yorkers overall think he did something illegal. 29% think he did something unethical. 7% think Cuomo did nothing wrong. 7%. Wow. So small number, but
we got to reach out to them and fix them somehow. How do we do that?
Yep. All right. So we're running out of time for this segment. Again, we'll be back in a little bit. We'll kind of wrap this stuff up and maybe hit a few other topics coming up here soon. Thanks again for joining us here on The Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, host today, joined by Tim O'Connor, co-host calling in from the phone. We'll be back in a few minutes on A Free Solution.
Tends to be a little more conservative in upstate New York, and I think they don't know me as well.
Run for your local town board. AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Mainly clear, pleasant once again. We'll hit the upper 50s, low 60s, so still comfortably cool out there on your Thursday. Sunshine, a few fair weather clouds, generally dry, warmer, 80 to 85, but still low humidity. A little more muggy on Friday in the mid-80s. Slight chance of an afternoon storm. Better chance of some thunder later Saturday. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Summertime means a world of warm weather fun with a little help from Victor Chevrolet. Pursue the possibilities of summer in your 2021 Equinox all-wheel drive LS. Lease it for just $249.95 per month for 39 months. Or enjoy the versatility of a tough and roomy 2021 Trailblazer LS front-wheel drive. Lease for only $159.95 a month for 39 months. You could haul plenty of people and cargo in your 2021 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT double cab pickup. Lease for just $379 a month for 39 months. While these deals include all applicable factory rebates, incentives, and discounts. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents for each additional mile. $2,500 cash or trade. First payment, tax, acquisition, bank, and DMV fees due at signing for all leases. Lessee responsible for repair and maintenance. Security deposit is waived. Must have existing lease and household. Tier 1 credit approval required. All deals end August 31st, 2021. Don't forget, Victor Chevrolet needs your trade. Find new roads at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor. Visit victorchevrolet.com.
Tom Hamilton here, president of Hamilton Wealth Management. Let's talk about investment fees and commissions. Just how much are you paying to have your investments managed? If you're like most people, you really don't know the cost, right? Does this make any sense? Paying for something without knowing how much? Okay, maybe your advisor is a friend and even sends you a birthday card every year. But what real value is he providing and at what cost? Isn't that a fair question to ask of any service provider, including your broker? For a $2 million account with annual fees and commissions totaling 2.5%, you're paying $50,000 per year. That's a lot of money. Are you receiving that level of value? If you have over $250,000, I will personally review your investments, including an analysis of the actual cost. To schedule your no-cost review, call our Pittsford office at 381-9870 or contact us from our website, hamiltonwealthmanagement.com. That's hamiltonwealthmanagement.com.
Advisory services offered through Wealth Plan Partners. Securities offered through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Lima Carpet and Design Center, Route 15 Avon is your hometown flooring store and more. Spruce up your home. Protect your flooring investment with professional carpet cleaning. Call for details, 226-2180. Appointments are filling fast. Call now, 226-2180. Lima Carpet and Design Center staff will do it right. Guaranteed. Route 15 Avon, just north of 390 exit 9.
At Lima Carpet, your hometown flooring store.
Mary Cariola Center is hiring. With good benefits, time off, and professional growth opportunities, applying for a job at Mary Cariola Center is your first step in turning a job into a career. Positions are open as teachers, nurses, teacher assistants, direct support professionals, teacher aides, clinicians, and so much more. We need your ambition and drive, just like those we serve need what you have to offer them. Visit marycariola.org and click on employment.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop specializing in pre-owned firearms and repairs. Get your rifle, shotgun, or pistol serviced and tuned before you take it to the field. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, East Main Street, next to the Bank of Castile.
Livingston County Pizza offers a full gluten-free menu and bakery along with their regular menu, so your family can enjoy their favorites, including burgers, sandwiches, and even hand-breaded onion rings and Friday fish fries with their dedicated to gluten-free fryer. Livingston County Pizza. You won't believe your belly.
A free solution.
These extreme conservatives who are right to life, pro-assault weapons, anti-gay, they have no place in the state of New York because that's not who New Yorkers are.
Oh, Governor Cuomo.
There he is. Just insulting everybody in upstate New York and making false allegations, false associations, and overplaying everything to keep people upset. This guy drives me crazy.
Yeah, and I would venture to say that people who touch women without their consent, sexually harass them, say inappropriate things constantly, and then intimidate them when they say it's not okay, have no place being governor of New York. Governor Cuomo should resign immediately. And if he isn't going to resign, then the state assembly needs to immediately impeach him. Don't wait on this stuff, folks. Just get it done.
They could start it tomorrow. They've taken and allocated taxpayer money to this impeachment trial. So it's time to get it started. They could have started this sooner. I think that the evidence could have been considered in the legislature, in legislative session. It's a real place to present real evidence, and it could have been done that way. We could have gotten to this point sooner, and I think we should have.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
certainly
livid
agree.
about it.
Yeah, no,
I'm livid about it.
It's frustrating. Like, why have they been like? We can't let them just like wait for this to fall out of the news cycle again and then be like, oh, well, we didn't get rid of the guy. We're just going to investigate for another 12 months or whatever until his term runs out in 2022. No, we can't let that happen. The guy needs to be impeached. Again, what kind of message does it send to people who are like working in their offices, women who are working in their offices, who want careers in politics, who think like, oh, well, like jerks like Governor Cuomo, creeps like him can just get away with this type of stuff. And there's not going to be any consequences for these people. What kind of safe work environment is that?
Yeah, I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head there. Larry also brought that point up yesterday. If this is the guy who's supposedly championing women's rights, who's championing equal pay, who's championing all these things, and then he treats a particular class of human beings like they're his plaything. I mean, this is embarrassing. This guy, I'm so frustrated. I think that we need to. Can we change the subject? Because if I keep going, I'm going to get a headache here.
Yes, you're going to drive up Tim's blood pressure here. No, it's awful again, and it's not acceptable behavior at any point in time. It's stupid. We didn't talk about this much, but a stupid whataboutism report that he put out. It's like, oh, look, I kiss people in the face all the time. No, man, it's still not okay. It's still if someone says like I'm not okay with this, please don't do that. Then you don't do it. That's all there is to it. If someone says they're not comfortable with that behavior, don't do it. And even after like those people made clear that it wasn't okay, he kept doing it and then threatened their livelihoods when they said something about it. Disgusting.
And when they complain, right? They can't complain. They have to accept his, like we all do. They have to accept his dictatorial edicts and his emergency orders. They have to accept all that stuff because this guy has taken democracy to the point of, and guys, forgive me for saying this, but he has taken the actions of democracy to the point of semi-tyranny. And I don't want to overstate it, but I also don't want to understate it. This is a real experience that we're experiencing in New York. This guy has his way with the legislature. This guy has had his way with all of us in New York State. And we've lost millions of people because of it, plain and simple. Well, maybe
Yep.
not plain and simple, but you guys are we've got to change the subject, Kevin. I'm already starting to. I'm going to have to wrap my head with duct tape and keep my brain from exploding.
Well, I'm sure that the next subjects, wherever they aren't going to stress you out. Oh, don't worry.
Yeah,
no,
right.
Yeah. So I'll read one comment off. Ryan says Cuomo is a professional dirtbag. Yeah, man. And he says go Bills. Mostly because go Bills. I got that. I talked about the Bills on Monday with all that stuff. But still a Bills fan. Just don't move to Austin.
You know what, Kevin? I almost called it on Monday because I wanted to talk about something, and hopefully we can get on a little tangent here and enjoy ourselves. Professional sports is like centralization of power. Back, 40, 50, 60 years ago, there were like hometown teams and local heroes that, even Oneonta, New York had a local football team, a semi-professional baseball team. And man, I'm telling you, those things were so much fun to go to as a kid. And now we've basically taken it down a notch. Now we have like a high-level college team that plays at our local arena. It used to be so much more fun back in the day when even sports was decentralized, and guys like LeBron James, with all due respect to his athletic prowess, had no say in the world of politics. None. No one would listen to them, even if they wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I think sports have always kind of been political in some ways, but I mean, I get the hometown team thing. Like there are opportunities. I don't know where you are, but like in like Rochester, if you want like smaller hometown feel, like you go to watch a Red Wings game, you go watch an Amerks game. Honestly, we should bring back the Rochester Jeffersons. The Rochester Jeffs used to be a professional football team in the area.
We used to be a AA. Oneonta, New York used to have a AA farm team. And let me tell you guys, like Cooperstown, New York, Oneonta, New York, this is the birthplace of baseball. So baseball has always played an important role in our communities. Even Milford Mac used to get some excellent baseball players. And Milford is like a small town of like 500 people. And they used to have an active baseball league where people would go and play, or an active softball league where, people's families would get involved. Even we had the Oneonta Indians, that was a local football team. And again, people would come together for these events that these guys would have. And it seemed to be so much more fun. So even like John Elway played in Oneonta for a couple of games. I believe Thurman Munson used to play in Oneonta for a couple of games. These are like, and John Elway, before he went to football, guys, just so you know, actually was a promising baseball player. He was an outrageously good center fielder, and he was a reasonably good pitcher. More money for him for football, but he was great. He was famous. I actually went to watch him play in my local hometown. And if I'm remembering things correctly, but we're talking like 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 40 years ago. I believe the day that the ABC News van, sports van, came up to watch him play baseball, he got into a collision with the left fielder, and both of them had to leave the game. Like they ran full on right into each other and took each other out. And so they had to substitute guys in and get them all checked out at the hospital. It was one of my favorite baseball stories to tell, even if it's slightly inaccurate due to my memory.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how some people are like so talented they can go play professionally like any sport they want. There's like the number of people in like the NFL who also were drafted for like either the NBA or like the Major League Baseball. Is wild. Like Patrick Mahomes, I think, was also drafted for Major League Baseball, and then he's winning Super Bowls or doing all right in Super Bowls as it were. This time.
Baseball seems like such a healthier sport, guys. With all due respect to everybody that loves football. My kid was decent at football when he was little. I so much rather wanted him to love baseball over football. And of all things, he's basically chosen wrestling and baseball. So I don't know. He's a great kid. I have a lot of fun with his sports, but I just want to put that out there. Football does strike me as completely violent. Lots of guys get injured, really, and lose their careers. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's risk in any sport, right? Like I played soccer.
Correct.
Like I had so many friends who tore their ACL and then just like couldn't play sports for at any level that they were playing before after that injury. It's tough though. Like I don't have to worry about that problem for a while, but I know there's a lot of risk associated with football. I know baseball maybe it's a bit safer. I don't know. I this is an unpopular opinion. I'm just like super not interested in watching Major League Baseball. I find it so boring. I like going to games, Like, I think it's fun, but man, I don't like watching it. I know some people like that. If that's your thing, great. Just not my thing.
Yeah, let me warn you about how you don't think it's going to happen for a while. You're going to go to sleep one night. You're going to wake up. Your kid's going to be graduating from high school and moving on into the world. I'm telling you, it feels like it happens that fast. Any of the other parents out there can tell you the same thing. Life, once you hit a certain age, and I think you just hit it, I thought 31 or something in that range, life just starts moving. It goes at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
I'm sure. Feels like it's just born, and now my kid has 2 teeth popping out on the bottom. So sorry,
that's it.
Quick.
And pretty soon they'll be wanting to play like Little League baseball or JC soccer or some sort of Pop Warner football. And guys, Kevin, let me just tell you that those are the moments of your life that make it worth living. You're gonna have a blast. I've had such a good time watching my kids grow into adults, and especially the sports. I really enjoy watching young people play sports. I think that's a very healthy environment for them.
Absolutely. All right. So I know a little bit of a tangent there, but it's all right, folks. When we come back, maybe we'll talk about the private businesses in Rochester. Tim, you might know about this, but the private businesses in Rochester now requiring vaccines to get in. Whether or not that's a good thing, okay thing that makes you upset. We'll talk about it right here on A Free Solution when we come back. Talk to you in a few.
And if there is a move to deport immigrants, I say then start with me.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax. We would like to thank our Lord for protecting us from evil. Psalm 91 states, "He is my refuge and my fortress, for he will rescue us from every trap and protect us from deadly disease."
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys who specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results.
We are also a small firm who will treat you like family and not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
In John 8:36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And one way we can achieve that is by being debt-free. So let us help you today. Call us at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS tax debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
If you are upset by what we have done, be upset at me. County executive did not do this. The village mayor did not do this. The city mayor did not make these decisions. I made these decisions. It's not your local elected official. I know they cause disruption. I know people are upset. I know businesses will be hurt by this.
Governor Cuomo, just remember, blame him for everything. There's probably some evidence to back it up too.
I was upset with him long before that stuff. So I appreciate him asking me to be upset with him, but everybody, I was already there.
Yeah.
Period.
So tons of stuff to be mad at Governor Cuomo about. Tons of stuff that he has messed up in one way or another, or hurt people in one way or another. All right, we said we were going to move on from the Cuomo thing, though, so we're gonna shift topics just a little bit. Talk about there's two businesses that are making headlines in Rochester, and I want to get your thoughts on that, Tim. Who are requiring you to show proof of vaccination to enter in. There's two places that I've been to quite a bit, actually. Lux over in the South Wedge in the city of Rochester, and Radio Social, which is in my neighborhood now. They're now requiring you to show your vaccine card or an Excelsior pass or a Clear Health Pass, which I have no idea what that is. I'll have to look that up. But they're saying, well, listen, if you're not vaccinated, we don't want your business anymore, and we're going to turn you away. I mean, so what do you think of this? Do they have the right to do this? Is this a good thing?
Yeah, there's so that's a lot to unpack here. Number one, do they have the right to do that? Yes, absolutely. They have the right to say, you can't come in here without a vaccine. Now, I'm going to presume that these are restaurant beer drinking establishments. Is that correct?
Lux is like a divey bar with a big outdoor space in Rochester.
Man, and I love divey bars. That's the last place you would expect to have that kind of take that kind of position. So I respect the fact that the owners, number one, have the right to do that. Number two, that they've decided to do it. Now, where I start to break away here, Kevin, is that I do not like it at all. And frankly, first of all, I wouldn't go even if I was or wasn't vaccinated, because I feel like that's none of anybody's business. But once they start putting these mandates on people, I would be more than willing to go someplace else and enjoy the atmosphere somewhere else, because cold beer is cold beer. And when I'm part of the atmosphere, it gets better.
Yeah, your presence makes the the atmosphere better.
Just my
I'm sure it
presence
does.
alone casts a ray of sunshine on every establishment that I enter into.
Yeah, no, I mean, so it's interesting with this stuff because I don't know how I feel about that. Again, in my mind, like, I'm vaccinated. I'm not too worried about it either way. For the folks making the argument like, oh, well, like this is discrimination somehow. It's funny because I've seen some folks be like, we shouldn't have the Civil Rights Act of 1960, but like also we need federal protections for like vaccination status. I'm like, no, those two things don't jibe, folks. Like, if you want the federal government to intervene here, like, it kind of opens the door to intervene everywhere. You're
hitting on a great point. I apologize for interrupting there, but you're hitting on a great point. It's hypocrisy of, as long as the government agrees with me, I like the government and I want to demand things from the government. Now, it's been hard in New York to not just want to find a leader to take everything that Cuomo has done and throw it out the window and get excited about that. But that in fact, in and of itself, is the problem. So again, like, private businesses have a lot of rights that we've already trampled all over as a society. We've already abridged their rights, and people do it under the guise of, well, they're trying to, sell things to the public. Okay, but at what point does it become discrimination? And at what point, for example, let's just throw the Christian baker in here. This is a guy that I like to kick around a lot. Like, did he have the right to not bake the cake? Yeah, okay. Did I think that was the right thing to do? No, he should have just baked the cake, and then it wouldn't have been an issue. But where the real problem came in was that the people who wanted him to bake the cake were able to use the state to beat this poor guy up over and over again. And not only were they able to use the state, but because they were able to use the state, they were also able to use the media. Now, some of that backfired, and he managed to raise a lot of money off of that stuff, which none of that is okay with me. This should have been a non-issue. They should have went someplace else, got a cake, and that's it. The whole issue would have been done. So am I like being clear enough about that?
I mean, I think I understand. Again, like it should be a private business decision in most of these cases. Again, we like if someone's being, a jerk about their conditions for doing business with them, then you have a right to take your business elsewhere. And then for the most part, like they have a right to decide who they want as customers or not. And in particular in this case, because again, there's no like federally protected class for vaccination status. So like they, legally there's no issue with this. It's more like, just, do you want to go to a business that does this? And again, I don't go to Lux that much anymore. I used to go all the time. The other element of this too is like, and this is just kind of a rumor thing talking among friends, and they're like, well, they think they did this because they're having trouble keeping staff because they're worried about exposure to people. They're worried unvaccinated folks are coming in. Again, for me, I'm like, well, I'm vaccinated. The chances of me getting infected with COVID are very, very, very low. I'm probably fine. So I go everywhere, don't have masks, but we have, again, these businesses requiring vaccines. Wegmans might be requiring people to have masks again. I think they're right now just, quote, strongly encouraging it, but they might bring back their mask requirement for their stores too. We'll see. It's like, I don't know.
We're in this wormhole with this disease that allows both sides to capitalize on people's emotions. A lot of people don't want to be interfered with as far as their medical freedom. They don't want to take a vaccine, and they particularly don't want to be forced to take a vaccine. Believe me, my sympathies come down on that side more than when I start hearing pitter patter and talk about the government mandating vaccines. And so when a college mandates vaccines, I know that people can go to another state where a college doesn't mandate vaccines, and so we'll see which strategy pays off in the long run. So I don't know. It's just this another wormhole where people end up fighting, and I get frustrated with that. I guess it just drives me a little bit crazy. If you're over 65, there's distinct statistical evidence that says you'll live longer if you cooperate with vaccination. Now, and particularly when it comes to COVID, that data appears to be developing along the same lines, along the historical perspective that vaccinations are certainly good for people over 65. It helps them live longer and stay healthier. Now, it does not necessarily pan out for under 50. Like the numbers don't necessarily exist there. But go ahead.
No, I mean, it's like you're still reducing your risk. The chances of you being hospitalized if you're under 50 is still not, it's low, but it's not zero. And the risk of the vaccine is like also virtually nothing. But like, I mean, we've kind of hashed that out before, because I do want to get to a couple questions and draw an important distinction, because I know it's going to come up. There's a big distinction between what's going on with the Rochester businesses, Lux and Radio Social, and what's going on in New York City, where there is an apparent actual mandate to say, like, no, you cannot allow customers to go in if they're unvaccinated. And I think that's different. I think you and I are going to be on the same page 100% on that. Like, that's not okay. Like, we shouldn't be doing that. To me, like, if Lux wants to do this or whatever, that's their right to do it. They run a private business. Let them do their thing. You can decide if you want to patronize them or not.
Correct. But when it all goes back to this government force becoming the issue, and a guy like de Blasio bellowing out an edict of you can't go into any businesses unless you're vaccinated. And businesses, guys, and check this out, this is actually an unfunded mandate, right? Because there's added expenses in having someone staff available. And I hear the music, so I just want to wrap this up real quick. It's an unfunded mandate. It costs money to verify vaccine status.
That's part of it too. All right, so thanks, Tim, for joining us today. Again, Friday, Tim's not going to be on, but we're going to have someone from the Liberty Show. Thanks again for joining us on A Free Solution. Listen to Tim tomorrow on A Free Solution.